Study Session 4. Drugs Abused. Introduction. In the following series of study sessions, various forms of drugs will be discussed. These drugs are generalized under different categories and classifications. They could be generally classified as stimulants, depressants, hallucinogens, and inhalants, as we shall discover in this session. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to outline the effect of stimulant on the central nervous system. Explain the effect of narcotic substance on behavior. Discuss the effect of inhalant on brain, and indicate the psychological effect of hallucinogens. The nature of stimulants. Stimulants are drugs that activate the motivational centers and reduce activities in the inhibitory centers of the central nervous system, CNS. They are often called uppers. Mild stimulants. Stimulants include caffeine, which is often found in coffee, tea, soft drinks, and some non-prescription drugs. It also includes nicotine, which is found in tobacco products like cigarettes. These are relatively mild substances. These are relatively mild stimulants, but are extremely addictive. They pose major health risks, though they fall under the socially acceptable drugs or legal drugs. Nicotine from tobacco. Tobacco plant is consumed in various ways. In many cultures, it is ingested or chewed as a dried leaf, smoked or sniffed in powdered form. In this section, we shall mainly focus on its consumption in smoked form. Nicotine is contained in cigarettes and other smoked tobacco products. It is a stimulant, and it is one of the main factors leading to continued tobacco smoking. Although the amount of nicotine inhaled with tobacco smoke is quite small, in brackets, most of the substance is destroyed by the heat, close bracket, it is still sufficient to cause physical and or psychological dependence. The amount of nicotine absorbed by the body from smoking depends on many factors, including the type of tobacco, whether the smoke is inhaled, and whether a filter is used. Despite the design of various cigarettes advertised and even tested on machines to deliver less of the toxic tar, studies have shown that when smoked by humans instead of machines, still deliver the same net amount of smoke. Ingesting a compound by smoking is one of the most rapid and efficient methods of introducing it into the bloodstream, second only to injection, which allows for the rapid feedback which supports the smoker's ability to titrate their dosage. Smokers report a variety of physical and psychological effects from smoking tobacco. Those new to smoking may experience nausea, dizziness, and rapid heartbeat. The unpleasant symptoms will eventually vanish over time with repeated use, as the body builds a tolerance to the chemicals in the cigarettes, such as nicotine. Most smokers say they enjoy smoking, which is part of the reason many continue to do so even though they are aware of the health risks. Taste, smell, and visual enjoyment are also major contributions to the enjoyment of smoking, in addition to camaraderie with other smokers. Ironically, chronic exposure to tobacco smoke may inhibit one's sense of taste and smell, rendering him or her less able to enjoy this aspect of tobacco smoking. The health effects of tobacco smoking. First-hand smokers. Tobacco use leads to commonly take two. Tobacco use leads most commonly to diseases affecting the heart and lungs, with smoking being a major risk factor for heart attacks. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease (COPD), emphysema, and cancer, particularly lung cancer, cancers of the larynx and mouth, and pancreatic cancer. Second-hand smokers or environmental tobacco smoke (ETS). Second-hand or environmental tobacco smoke (ETS) is a mixture of smoke from the burning end of a cigarette, pipe or cigar and the smoke exhaled from the lungs of smokers. It is involuntarily inhaled, lingers in the air hours after cigarettes have been extinguished, and can cause a wide range of adverse health effects, including cancer, respiratory infections, and asthma. Non-smokers who are exposed to secondhand smoke at home or work increase their heart disease risk by 25 to 30%, and their lung cancer risk by 20 to 30%. Tobacco control. In some countries, tobacco products are not sold to minors, that is underage. In Nigeria, for instance, tobacco companies are mandated by the Federal Ministry of Health the need to include warning captions like "smokers are liable to die young" on their packages. Direct advertisement and consumption of tobacco products are prohibited of tobacco in public places. Tobacco companies are also heavily taxed. All these and many more are ways initiated to control tobacco use. Some other stimulant drugs include the following. 1. Amphetamines. It goes with the trade name as dexedrine, benzedrine, and methadone. These are stimulant drugs that generally produce a conscious sense of increased energy, alertness, enthusiasm, and an euphoric sense of being high. They are not physically addictive, but produce an intense psychological dependence. Amphetamines' physical danger lies in their effect on the heart. Psychologically, they cause amphetamine psychosis, which manifests as distorted thinking, confused and rapid changing emotions, and intense suspiciousness. Take two. And intense suspiciousness. This is as a result of excessive use of stimulants. 2. Cocaine. This is another form of stimulant that is widely consumed, though illegally. It is made from the leaves of cocoa plants. It is taken in many forms, but it is most commonly sniffed or inhaled as powder. It could also be smoked or injected. Cocaine produces alertness, high energy, optimism, self-confidence, talkativeness, happiness, and exhilaration. It raises body temperature, breathing, and heart rate. It reduces desire for food and sleep. The high effect of cocaine is within minutes. Its use is often repeated each time the effect wears off. Repeated cocaine use leads to addiction because of the way in which it exerts its effect on the brain. Like most consciousness alerting drugs, cocaine alerts the functioning of the brain by influencing the neurotransmission at the synapse. Cocaine blocks the reuptake openings and prevents the reabsorption of the neurotransmitter by the axon. This means that the neurotransmitters stay in the synapse longer than normal and continues to stimulate the dendrites of the next neuron. The state increases the craving for cocaine, and the relief that is felt when cocaine is next used results in rapid dependence on the substance. It also produces in the user miserable depression, agitation, confusion, paranoia, anger, and exhaustion. Withdrawal from cocaine differs considerably from heroin or nicotine addiction. The addict experiences intense depression, agitation, and craving for cocaine. Going straight after becoming dependent on cocaine is a very great challenge for addicted persons, but it can be met by a genuinely motivated person if given proper treatment. Depressants. This section will further your knowledge on psychotropic substances and their addictive nature. Specifically, we will examine depressants. Nature of depressants. Depressants are a large class of psychotropic drugs that influence conscious experience by depressing part of the central nervous system. Examples of depressants are tranquilizers, sedatives, narcotics, and alcohol, which is the most widely used depressant. Categories of depressant drugs. Sedatives. As depressants, when taken in large doses, as depressants, when taken in large doses, sedatives generally produce a state of calm relaxation. Under regulation or prescription, they are drugs to aid sleep and sometimes to combat anxiety. They are highly addictive and dangerous to withdraw from without medical supervision. Physicians do not often prescribe them unless it is very necessary. Tranquilizers. These are wilder drugs similar to sedatives in the sense that they also produce a sense of calm relaxation for a period of time. They are often prescribed to reduce anxiety. Examples of such drugs are Valium, Librium, Ativan, Milton, and Equanil. Most of these drugs are dangerous and addictive. They are difficult to withdraw from and also more dangerous when combined with alcohol. They must be taken with great care. They are regarded as downers and are widely sold illegally. Narcotics. These are powerful and highly addictive depressants. Opium, derived from opium poppy as a narcotic, has been taken in the Middle East for about 7,000 years. Drugs derived from opium include morphine, heroin, and codeine. They are powerful narcotic drugs that dramatically alter consciousness. They relieve pain, induce a sudden sensation of high, followed by a relaxed lethargic drowsiness. It creates physiological addiction. Prolonged addiction has damaging effect on the body. To maintain or sustain their increasingly expensive habits, many addicts that abuse these drugs go into all kinds of crimes. This makes it an extremely significant drug abuse problem. In the Nigerian market, many of these drugs go by different street names like Gbana, White Charlie, and so on. In recent years, opiates derived are not the only kind of narcotic drugs. There are synthetic narcotics used as painkillers with trade names like Demerol, Percodan, Methadone. Inhalants. Some of the psychotropic substances are categorized as inhalants. Inhalant. Okay. My back.
Inhalant take two.
My back.
Àwọn yòókù wà nípò.
No, Mawaka. Like me one sympathy. Omibati help me. Alright, take two. Inhalants are substances that produce a sense of intoxication when inhaled. The abuser will sniff the substance to produce a high effect. These substances are usually very toxic or poisonous. Such substances include glue, cleaning fluids, paint, petrol, or vehicle exhausts. Some of these substances are placed in a paper bag or can. They are inhaled or sniffed. This type of intoxication is common among children because the materials are easily to obtain and extremely dangerous. The toxic fumes often cause permanent change to the brain, and other serious complications may result. Inclusive in the psychotropic series of drugs are hallucinogens. Hallucinogens are drugs that have the most powerful effect to alter consciousness. They typically alter perceptual experiences, but when taken in large doses, they cause vivid hallucination. In this mental state, the individual experiences imagery visions and euphoric realities that sometimes seem more real to the abuser than the waking realities or consciousness. This, however, could be more attributable to the drug taker's dissatisfaction with everyday life than to the effect of the drug itself. Such drugs include lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD, mescaline, derived from the peyote cactus, and psilocybin, derived from a kind of mushroom. Hallucinogens are not physiologically addictive, but individuals can become psychologically dependent on them. However, many of the drug-induced states in brackets strips or taken to another euphoric world close brackets produced by hallucinogens are often experienced as pleasant. It is quite uncommon to experience bad trips that are frightening and that elicit dangerous responses, according to Mark Williams and Tuttle, 1973. Nonetheless, individuals who are already frightened about taking the drugs but still do so under peer pressure are more likely to experience bad trips. These trips, good or bad, can sometimes recur as flashbacks without the individual taking the drug. These acts of recurrence are often bad trips and are mostly triggered by stress or society. Marijuana. This is a popular consciousness altering drug that generally produces a sense of relaxation. It is usually planted in most parts of the world as cannabis plant. It is most commonly smoked in its dried form. In Nigeria, it carries such street names like weed, ganja, hash, etc. The most active ingredient is the chemical substance it produces, tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. It is sometimes classified as stimulant or hallucinogens due to the hallucinating effect of users. In some cases, the drug alters sensory experiences and the perception of time. In most countries like Nigeria, it is an illegal drug, yet it is widely used. It is not physically addictive. In many cases, experience a reverse tolerance, in which case smaller amount of the drug eventually come to produce the same effect of being high. There is, however, some psychological dependence. There exists some evidence that prolonged marijuana use. In some cases, the drug alters sensory experiences and the perception of time. In most countries like Nigeria, it is an illegal drug, yet it is widely used. It is not physically addictive. In many cases, users experience a reverse tolerance, in which case smaller amount of the drug eventually come to produce the same effect of being high. There is, however, some psychological dependence. There exists some evidence that prolonged marijuana use decreases the efficiency of cognitive processing. It weakens the body immune response and decreases the action of the male sex hormone, according to Wallace and Fisher, 1983. Moreover, like smoking any type of cigarette, marijuana greatly increases the risk of lung cancer. Operating machines or driving under marijuana intoxication is also dangerous. Another drug under the category of hallucinations is phencyclidine, or PCP. This drug was originally developed as an animal tranquilizer but was abused by many adolescents, particularly in the United States. The effect of this drug lasts for 4 to 6 hours. In some cases, the individual experiences auditory and visual hallucinations, feeling of numbness, lack of muscular coordination, anxiety, a sense of detachment from the environment, and euphoria. The individual may also engage in some form of unconventional behavior, such as going to public places nude, violent behavior towards other psychotic episodes. Summary. In this study session, you learned that stimulants are drugs that activate the motivational centers of the central nervous system, CNS. Depressants are psychotropic drugs that influence the conscious experience by depressing part of the central nervous system. Inhalants are substances sniffed to produce a sense of intoxication. Hallucinogens are drugs that make its users experience imaginary vision and realities. End of study session 4. Thank you for listening.